4th of April 1931, Volume 29. The I love you is thunder. The divine will is heaven. Our humanity is earth. The pains of the heart of Jesus. Exchange of life. The divine will, origin, means, and end. My abandonment in the arms of the Most Holy Supreme Will continues. And even though I feel myself under the thick clouds of inexpressible bitternesses that take away from me the beauty of the divine light, and if I feel it, it is behind these clouds. Yet as I say my I love you and do my acts in the fiat, the thunder is formed, and unleashing the lightning, it rips the clouds open. And through those rips, the refulgent light enters into my soul and brings me the light of the truth that Jesus wants to manifest to his little creature. It seems to me that the more I repeat my I love you, the more often I thunder and lightning. And these lightnings, piercing the clouds, wound my highest good Jesus, who, wounded, sends me his light as herald of his little visit to his embittered daughter. So while I was in this state, my beloved Jesus came in a pitiful and afflicted state. He had his arms broken from the grave offences received, and throwing himself into my arms, he asked me for help in so many pains. I was unable to resist, and while clasping him in my arms, I felt his pains being communicated to me, but so many as to feel myself dying. So I fell into the abyss of my painful state. Fiat, fiat. But the thought of being able to relieve Jesus with my little pains gave me peace. And although Jesus had left me alone in the pains, later he came back and told me, "My daughter, true love can do nothing, nor can it suffer, if it does not share it with she who loves me. How sweet is the company of dear ones in the pains. Their company mitigates my pains, and I feel as if they were giving life back to me. And to feel life being given back to me by dint of pains is the greatest love that I find in the creature, and I give her my life again in exchange. So the love is so great that they exchange the gift of life, one for the other. But do you know who drew me into your arms to ask you for help in my pains? The continuous thundering of your I love you, that making bolts of lightning, drew me to come to throw myself into your arms to ask you for relief. Moreover, you must know that my divine will is heaven. Your humanity is earth. Now, as you keep doing your acts in it, you take heaven, and the more acts you do, the more room you take in this heaven of my fiat. And while you take heaven, my will takes your earth, and heaven and earth are fused together and remain dissolved, one within the other. After this, I continued my abandonment in the divine fiat, and blessed Jesus came back with his heart open, from which blood was pouring. And in that divine heart, one could see all the pains of Jesus, that he suffered in all the parts of his divine person, all centred in the heart. Even more in it was the place and the origin of all his pains that, spreading through all of his most holy humanity, rose back like many little rivulets into his most holy heart, bringing to it the torment that his whole divine person suffered. And Jesus added, "My daughter, how much I suffer. Look at this pain of mine. How many wounds, how many sorrows, how many pains it hides. It is the refuge of all pains. There is no sorrow, nor spasm, nor offence that does not pour into this heart of mine. My pains are so many that, unable to bear the bitterness, I keep looking for one who wants to accept a few little particles of these pains to have a sigh of relief. And when I find her, I keep her so dear to me that I cannot leave her ever again, nor do I feel lonely any more. I have someone whom I can make comprehend my pains, to whom I can confide my secrets, and in whom I can pour my flames of love that consume me. This is why I often ask you to accept part of my pains, because they are many. And if I don't go to my children to ask for relief, to whom should I go? I would remain like a father without children, who either has no offspring, or his ungrateful children have abandoned him. Ah, no, no, you will not abandon me. Isn't it true, my daughter? And I, my Jesus, I will never abandon you, but you will give me grace. You will help me in my present conditions, and you know how painful they are. My Jesus, help me, and I too say to you from the heart, oh, please, do not abandon me. Do not leave me alone. Oh, how vividly I feel the need of you. Help me, help me. And Jesus, assuming a sweeter appearance, took my poor soul in his hands, and in the depth of it he wrote, I place my divine will in this creature as origin, means, and end. And then he repeated, my daughter, I place my divine will in your soul as origin of life, from which all your acts will descend as though from one single point, and diffusing in all your being, in the soul and in the body, they will make you feel the palpitating life of my divine will in you, that will hide within itself, as though inside a aquarium, all your acts as continuation from its divine origin. Now, by having my divine will as origin, you will remain fully ordered in your Creator and will recognize that every origin comes from God and will give us the glory and the requital of love of all created things which have come out of our creative hands. By doing this, you will embrace the work of creation of which we were the origin, the life, and the preservation. From the origin, you will pass to the means. You must know that man, by withdrawing from our divine will, denied the origin and disordered himself, and he remained vacillating, without support, without strength. At each step he felt himself pushed to fall, as though feeling the ground missing under his feet, and heaven over his head in act unloading itself upon him in a fierce storm. Now a means was needed in order to firm up the earth and make heaven smile. And here is my coming upon earth as means to reunite heaven and earth, God and man. So to one who has my divine will as origin, the means is revealed, and she will embrace the whole work of redemption and will give me the requital of the love and the glory of all the pains that I suffered in order to redeem man. Now, if there is the origin and the means, there must be the end. The end of man is heaven, and for one who has my divine will as origin, all of her acts flow into heaven as the end that her soul must reach, and as the origin of her beatitude that will have no end. And if you have my divine will as end, you will give me the glory and the requital of the love for having prepared a celestial fatherland for creatures as their happy dwelling. Therefore be attentive, my daughter, and I seal in your soul my divine will as origin, means, and end, that will be for you life, the safe guide, the support, and will lead you in its arms to the celestial fatherland. End of the reading. The 4th of April, 1937, Volume 34. As the creature gives her will to God, so God acquires his divine rights over her. How 3 walls of strength are formed in order to not let her come forth from within the fiat. I'm under the eternal ways of the divine volition, and if some thought escapes me, these ways make themselves stronger and suffocate my thought and my fears in a way that immediately pacifies me, and I run together with the divine fiat. However, the thought often torments me about if I still go out from within it. My God, what suffering! I feel myself die only thinking of it. It seems to me that I will no longer be the sister with created things. I'll get out of my place in their midst. They will no longer be mine, and then what will I give to my God? Nothing else remains for me than pure nothingness. I felt so bad in thinking this that I felt myself tortured. And my sweet Jesus, having compassion on me and on the state in which I was reduced, raced in order to sustain me in his arms. And all goodness he told me, "My daughter, what are you doing? Courage. You oppress yourself too much and your Jesus does not want it." And then the same suffering that you feel means you do not want to go out of my divine will. And your will is enough for me. It is the most certain pledge. And I keep it enclosed in my divine heart as the most precious thing so that no one touches it but me. I do not pay attention to the feelings of the creature. It is for me as if they were not there, and many times they serve to cast her into my arms so that I free her from this enemy that makes her lose peace. Now you must know that when the soul has given me her will with firm decision and with certain knowledge of what she did, without wanting to know it any more, it has already taken its place in mine. And I with right am master of it, and she with right is of mine. So do you believe it is easy to cede these rights? Indeed, I will use all the arts. I will place my own power in the field, so that what so much interests me would not be taken away. You must know that the surrender of her will is the strongest bond between creator and creature, and she remains inseparable as to not be able to separate from us any more. We feel her life as ours because one is the will that animates it. Now, do you believe that with one thought, with one feeling, these bonds can be broken, losing our inseparability? And we cede what is ours without the decided, repeated acts that she wants her will? My daughter, you are mistaken. More so because our love for her is so much that no sooner has she given us her volition than we wall up the creature, first with a wall of light, in a way that if she were to want to go out, the light eclipses her and she does not know where to take the step because she finds light everywhere, and not knowing where to go, she withdraws and hides herself in the bosom of her Creator. The second wall is everything that my humanity did while being on earth, my tears, my works, steps, and words, my sufferings, my wounds, my blood. They wall themselves around the happy creature in order to impede her from going out, because it contains the secret, the strength, the life, in order to give life to one who lives in the divine volition. And do you believe that after having obtained the intent of conquering this will by way of sufferings, I would let escape from me what cost me blood, life, and death? Ah, you have not yet understood well, my love. If it is a matter of simple resignation, it is easy to do or not to do my will, because these ones have not ceded their rights to me. They hold their will dear, and therefore they are now resigned, now impatient, now they love heaven and now the earth. But for one who has given her will to me, she has taken her place in the divine order. She wants and does what we ourselves do. She feels herself queen. Therefore it is almost impossible to go out of our fiat, nor would she adapt herself to being the servant, the slave, if she went forth from our volition. The third wall is the whole of creation that feels in her the operating virtue of the divine volition, of which everything possesses its life. And in order to make it homage, they wall themselves around. The sun with its light, the wind with its empire. In sum, all created things feel the creative strength, the operating and always new virtue that it works in the creature. While they cannot do more than what they do, and they run around in order to enjoy the works of that fiat of which they are animated. Therefore, do not think about it. Enjoy the peace of that volition that possesses you, and your Jesus will think of everything. End of the reading. The 4th of April 1938, Volume 35, How God Created the Necessity for His Will within the creature, and how she could not live without it. Example, how He created the necessity of water and sun for the earth. How one who does not live in the divine will wants to confine God in heaven. Each additional word on the divine will gives a new and distinct life. My poor mind feels the extreme need to trace the acts of the divine volition as the breath and heartbeat of my poor existence. If I didn't do so, I would feel as if I were losing the air to breathe, the heart to beat. Oh, how can anyone live without the air and the life of your will, my God? It seems impossible to me. And my sweet Jesus, visiting my little soul, all goodness told me, my good daughter of my will, my love was so great in the creation of man that I gave him my will as his primary life, as his own primary life, and as absolute necessity, to the extent that he couldn't do any good without it. The earth cannot produce anything without water, since water is like the soul of the earth. But without the sun that fecundates, purifies, and embellishes the earth with its light and heat, water would serve only to make the earth mouldy, rendering it like a muddy sewer that would release a contagious air capable of infecting the earth. But these three elements, water, earth, and sun, are not enough. Seed is needed to produce from the earth the most beautiful blooms, plants, and fruits that delight the Father and form the food for all the human generations. You see, if only one of these elements was missing, the earth would be so sterile, gloomy, and obscure as to be frightening. It is the necessity of the union of these elements that forms the beauty, the utility, the goodness, and the fecundity of our creative works. Separated, they can be harmful and noxious to the poor creatures. United, they can do a world of good. In the same way, I created the strong necessity of my will in the creature. I created the soul, like water for the earth, that had to flow more than water in the earth of the body. I created my will in it, like sun, light, and heat, that had to vivify, fecundate, and embellish it, but with so much beauty as to continuously enrapture us for love of her. Then, just as the farmer throws the seeds into the earth to make it produce, my will assumed the commitment of throwing many divine seeds into the creature that had to rise like many suns, one more beautiful than the other, to produce blooms and celestial fruits that had to serve as food for the creatures and even as food for their creator. For our food, our life, is our will. Do you see then the necessity of the union of acts, which like seeds are formed by the creature? This necessity determines the growth of my will within her. It communicates the virtue of our divine qualities, producing many prodigies of grace and beauty, and we love her so much that not only do we become inseparable, but we also operate continuously within her. We know that if we love, she loves. If we work, she works. Nor can she do anything without us. If her union with us were missing, she would be reduced to uselessness, like the earth with no water, no sun, and no seed. Therefore, loving her very much, we do everything in her. Do you see at what painful, harmful, and almost horrible point the creature puts herself without our will? Then he added in a more sorrowful and touching tone, "My daughter, how painful it is for us not to see the creature living in our will. By not living in it, she wants to confine us in our celestial fatherland. She doesn't want us to live on earth together with her. Our will is a weight for her. She runs away from our sanctity, shuts the door to the light and looks for darkness. Poor one. By doing her will, she will die of cold and starvation, and she will say, 'Heaven does not belong to me.' These creatures live in exile on earth with no support, no defence, and no strength. Good itself turns into bitterness for them, and if necessary, even into defects. They form our suffering and suffocate our love continuously. The love of our will is such that every word or knowledge that it manifests about our volition is a divine life. And not only that, but a new life, each one different from the other, new in sanctity, in beauty, and in love. Therefore, we delight very much and celebrate making known what our will is, what it can do, and at what noble, sublime, high point within our divine womb it wants to place the creature. In fact, by making it known, we do nothing other than pour out new divine lives. And as these lives are possessed by the creature, we receive from her our new love, beauty, goodness, and so on. By means of our own lives, so how glorified and loved we feel by the one to whom we revealed ourselves. Making ourselves known, finding one who wants to know us, is the act that glorifies us the most. Our love finds the one to whom it can pour itself out to give whatever we want. After all, why would we have made the creature if we didn't want to make ourselves known? It is the knowledge that makes us descend into her and gives her the wings to ascend to us. So when we see you yearning to know more about our will, we immediately prepare for you the most beautiful surprises of our omnipotent fiat, not just to let you know, but to give you the good we reveal to you." After this he added, all moved, "My daughter, the one who lives in my will is the creature desired by everyone, because all feel loved by her. Her love runs to all, embraces all, places itself in the hearts of all to make us loved by all. Even the most tiny, I love you, I adore you, I bless you, of the creature who lives in our holy will, has the right to be enclosed within all. Even the saints and the angels feel honoured to give a place within themselves to the most tiny I love you from this fortunate creature, and so they love us. What will not be her joy when she comes to the celestial fatherland and will see her I love you in all the blessed who love her God? All this happens in the most simple way. Since our will is everywhere, anything done in it takes its place everywhere and acquires a continuous act of loving always. Therefore, even the sun, the heavens, the stars, the entire creation will possess these acts in order to love us and bless us. End of the reading. There are no more readings today.